Today's episode we have the fabulous Bashar, and he's known as the Amazon Man, and we're going to get right into your story. And we're bringing you millionaire mentors from all across the globe, and we have one sitting right in front of you. So we're going to discuss how you became a millionaire, your life story, and we're just going to jump right into it. So give us a little intro about who you are.
Sure, man. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Appreciate this opportunity. It all started when I was probably about, 5 or 6 years old. My father owned the second largest factory of clothing in Iraq, which is where I'm from. And he kind of paved the path of entrepreneurship. He was my idol. He was the person that I admired, and I wanted to become like him. Unfortunately, because of the wars in Iraq and everything, he lost all of his businesses. And in 2006, we migrated to America. Came here.
How old were you?
I was 16 years old at the time. So I lived through the war for about 3 years. Came to America. Didn't know the language. Didn't know, the culture. Was just the culture shock. And I knew that I was destined to do something to provide for my family, to make sure that I provide them the life that my father had started, and I wanted to kind of finish it off,
What business was your father in?
So he owned a clothing factory. So he would make like button-up shirts and that kind of stuff. And he had the second largest clothing factory in Iraq. Wow. But he, since he came to America,
Iraq is like a clothing manufacturer, though. Really?
Well, in the 70s and 80s, which is when he had his factory, there wasn't any imports coming in from outside of the country. So everything that you consumed was based on, everything that was manufactured inside of the country, right? And that was also another thing that actually, went against them, is when imports opened up. People started, wanting to wear designer clothes and that kind of stuff, and he just wasn't able to pivot with the market. Therefore, his businesses failed. But it was kind of an itch that I needed to scratch in a way. And as I grew up over the years, I also realized that, money is a vehicle, and it is needed. And we live in an economical society. We need money in order for us to do anything really in life. And I knew also that if I have money, I can not only provide a better life for myself and my loved ones, but also help other people in need and causes that I am passionate about. And so it just became more of a means to an end. It became a vehicle, and really just became obsessed of the game of business, the game of providing a great service, the game of impacting people's lives. And that just became an obsession. And obviously, if you are good at your craft, usually you're very well compensated with money. And so that was kind of the journey and kind of the gist of the life story,
Nice. So 16 years old, didn't know English.
No.
And what was the first entrepreneurial journey? Like, I remember selling gum and candy in school.
Sure.
Like, what did you first start selling?
Well, I started it was really not an entrepreneurial journey. I started my, career as a McDonald's employee. So that was the first job that I ever had.
One of those jobs.
Exactly, right?
I worked in the produce department.
Nice, yeah. It was just the first job that I had.
I used to wash dishes too.
I love that. At 16, I barely spoke the language. I got a job at McDonald's really just to provide for my family, because it was me, my older brother, and my mom here first. And we needed to be able to live. So it was actually me and my mom both worked at McDonald's when we first migrated to the country. And it was in Detroit, 11 and a half in John R. Just went through it. The first entrepreneurial, thing that I did was in 2011, when my family and I took whatever savings we had made the first 5 years we had made in America, and we bought our first business in America, which was a local pizzeria. So just your local pizza shop. My brother and I worked.
Some pretty good pizzas.
Really good, actually. Really good. It wasn't our recipes. I don't want to take credit for that. It was just the recipes of their previous owners, and we did pretty well. It was a moms and pops local place. My brother and I ran the front of the house, the back of the house. My 74-year-old dad and 62-year-old mom would chop onions and tomatoes and help us
Wow,
prep
so
and stuff
your-
like
Your
that.
parents were pretty old when you were
Yeah, oh
when you were
yeah.
born.
Yeah, my dad had me at 50.
Wow.
So, there's a big gap between my father and I, and also all of my siblings. And so that's how it kind of started for us, That was my first go at entrepreneurship. And then working with family is a great thing, but also it's a bad thing, I wanted to go at 120 miles an hour as a 21-year-old kid, that I just wanted to go. And then especially my brother who kind of had, I don't want to say control, but everything kind of came and went by him first. He wanted to really take, steps, small steps and stuff like that, and things just didn't work out. So after about 2 years, I decided to do my own thing, and that's when I started my first business by myself at the age of 23.
Okay, what was that?
So that was a restaurant as well. Up until then, I had been working in restaurants. All my jobs were restaurants. The business that I had owned and operated were all restaurants.
Restaurants are a tough business, I heard.
The toughest that I've operated. I've operated about 6 or 7 different kinds of categories of businesses. The toughest. It's there's a saying, a famous saying, restaurants is a game of counting pennies. Literally.
Margins are so small.
Yeah, margins are like 5, 7, 8%.
Wow.
And there is just so much work that goes into it. You're dealing with customers all the time. You're dealing with employees. Especially if it's not a higher end restaurant, you're dealing with not the best type of workers as well, because you're not really compensating them that well. So you shouldn't really be expecting to get top of the top.
It's funny, I almost opened up a Quiznos sub shop in my 20s.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Luckily, thank God I didn't.
Okay. Well, that might have been a better experience because it's a franchise, if I understand that correctly,
Franchise
right?
with horrible margins.
Sure. But at least you have the systems figured out.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that I now, as a more seasoned entrepreneur, that I don't get is you need processes, you need systems in place. And that's what a franchise can provide for you, where, say, in my business, I was trying to figure it all out, So that's kind of what I started
So
there.
what happened with that business? I was like, how long did it, from what age to what age did that business run from?
Yeah, so in fact, it was September, I remember the dates. It was September 31st, 2013, when I took over. I was 23 years old.
23.
And I ran that place for about 2.5 years. 6 months into it, I realized I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I just had a big ego. I thought I knew what I was doing. Prior to that, I had watched John Taffer's Bar Rescue reality TV
I used to
show.
watch that show.
Taking notes, learning how to run a successful restaurant, right? And unfortunately, I see that happening a lot nowadays with people like watching YouTube videos and thinking that they can gain all the experience they need to run a successful venture through some free YouTube videos.
So many YouTube videos to learn about business. Then you really got to get it from a coach and mentor, right?
Yeah, because
there's so much information out there.
There is so much information, and unfortunately, a lot of it is just like barely scratching the surface, And then there might be, say, everything you need out there, but it's like, how do you know what sequence it goes? How do you know that you need to do this thing, the other thing, and the thing after? How do you know how many steps there are to the process? Because you might think, or you might find 5 steps to the process, but there might really be 7 steps or 6 steps. And that final step is really the most crucial thing that you haven't been able to figure out because you don't know what you don't know. And that's essentially where I was. I thought I knew it all after watching Bar Rescue for 6 months. I went into it, and again, 6 months into it, I didn't know what I was doing. April 28th, 2015 came around. It was 5 p.m. I had left. It was a Tuesday. I had left to go.
Dates.
Oh, dude, because it's these times and dates that that are so pivotal in your life that it's like you can't forget.
Yeah.
I left to go pick up my girlfriend, who now is my wife, and this is 2015. I got a call from John, the bartender, and John's like.
Taffer.
No, not John Taffer. No,
About
our
to say.
bartender. Yeah. Hey, I wish if John Taffer worked for me. I mean, holy shit. Maybe I wouldn't be sitting here. He's like, hey man, the kitchen is on fire. You need to come back. I was like, what do you mean? Put it out. We've got an extinguisher. He's like, no, you don't understand. The fire department is here. We're all outside. This place is on fire. By the time I get back, there is about 7, 8 fire engines outside.
Oh my gosh.
The place is filled with smoke. And
So pretty much your first business went up in flames.
Went up in flames, and what I realized is that I had not paid the insurance bill for 4 months. And so not only did I lose
good.
everything invested, I came out of it with about $150,000 in debt. And yeah, that was one of the most pivotal moments of my life.
That's crazy. So how did you bounce back from that? Like, what's next? What was going through your mind? Like, what are you going to do?
So there was a moment there for about 3-4 months, because up until then, I had always had big dreams. I had always wanted to do big things in life. And then after that experience, I went into depression and realized that maybe all of those dreams are more fantasy land. It's the stuff you see in the movies, but it's not stuff that actually is achievable in life. And so that's when I almost gave up. There was about a 3-4 month period where I actually gave up on my dreams. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to get a job. I'm just going to go about life, pay off my debt, which at the time it would take me about 12 to 15 years to pay off, based on what income I was making.
How much debt?
$150K in debt.
Yeah.
And I realized that that's it. You know, this girl, I'm going to probably end up marrying her. We're going to live a mediocre life, you know, and just struggle. And that's just life. And unfortunately, I think, you know, majority of people are, or a lot of people are in that position, and they stay there. And the biggest reason is because the people they are surrounded by. And I say that because everyone that I was surrounded by was kind of in that situation. And so to me, it was normal. It wasn't like, well, that's bad, like that's really bad. I was actually abnormal trying to do all these crazy things. Mm-hmm. People would look at me and think I'm crazy. And it wasn't until I changed my circle. And my circle became more of what's online. And I remember...
How did you change your circle? You know, they say you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with.
Right.
If 5 people or your friends are 5 broke people, you're going to be the 5th. Or, you know, the people that aren't going places, you'll be the 5th.
Yes.
Or people that don't have good habits, you won't have good habits. So how did you change your immediate circle to start getting influenced by better decisions?
It was I met a friend who I had not seen since high school. This is about 5, 6, 7 years after high school. And he was asking about what I've been up to, and I told him what happened. And I asked him the same thing, and he said, I've been working from home. And at the time, I didn't understand what that concept was. This is 2015, late 2015. Mm-hmm. So I went online, I got on YouTube, and I just started searching, you know, how to make money online. And I started seeing all the different things that people probably watching right now get bombarded by when they go online. Affiliate marketing and this thing and the crypto and blah, blah, blah. And what I realized that there was this whole new world out there that I had no idea about, right? Because up until now, for me, business or earning money was, there has to be some type of a person-to-person connection, physical connection, you know? There's a service or a product you exchange, someone else pays you money for it, and that's it. But you need to be in person. But then I realized that I can do certain things, I can leverage the internet, do certain things without needing to, you know, have physical locations and have employees and have all this. And so I got exposed. So it was awareness. Really, the first step was awareness, getting exposed to more, right? And that happened through literally just meeting someone else that has done something else. Mm-hmm. So that's where it's important to put yourself out there and realize that wherever you are, there is the next level. Regardless how much you've accomplished, there is always the next level. And the only thing stopping you from the next level is awareness and exposure. And for you to get the awareness and get the exposure, you have to put yourself out there, and it'll feel uncomfortable at first, but do know that where you are, if you feel comfortable, do know that you're probably at some point you're going to decline, right? And you have to continue progressing, you have to continue pushing yourself, you have to continue getting new experiences, otherwise, you know, you'll find yourself in a comfortable situation, you start declining.
Success is relevant. Like if you're hanging around with successful people that are on your level, most likely you'll stay at that level.
Correct.
So getting outside of your comfort zone, hanging around people that are above your level, one step above, on their chapter 20, 25, they're 30, and those are the people that push you.
Yes.
And actually motivate you. Like you think you're successful now, wait till you meet the next billionaire or millionaire if you're not there yet. Like
yes.
It's insane. Like sometimes I get stagnant. Sometimes I get complacent, and it just takes me even watching someone's Instagram to get motivated to try and reach the new levels. They say every new level is a new devil, and it's going to push you. It's going to try you. And that's what we need in life. We need to be tried, tested, and the only way to get that next level.
Correct. 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So where you go through this phase of, this meeting these new people, being exposed to new experiences and what's out there. So what's next on your plate? What is the next light bulb that goes off in your head?
So this is where I came up with a concept called the discovery phase. And that's kind of essentially, now looking back, that's what I went through. Because a lot of times you hear people saying, but I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to do in my life. There are so many options out there. Which one do I decide to go into? And that's where I say, I went through this thing called the discovery phase. Again, I didn't know that's what I was going through, but now looking back, that's kind of what it was. And essentially what it was researching of different things that I might be interested in. So if someone's watching, this would be find 3 areas that you are interested in. This could be online businesses, there could be sectors, this could be different categories, this could be whatever. 3 things you're interested in. And then from there, what you want to do is you want to research every single one of those things for at least 30 to 60 days, right? And then after that period, drop 2 and focus on 1. Then the third step would be find 3 people that you can learn from in that one thing and also follow them for another period of 30 days or 60 days. And then the final step would be drop everyone but one person and focus on that one person for 1 to 2 years minimum. Before you focus on that one person and that one thing for 1 to 2 years, you want to ask yourself the first question, which is, do I see myself focusing on this one thing for 1 to 2 years and doing nothing else? The answer must be yes. If it's not, go back to the drawing board. If the answer is yes, go to the second thing. If after 1 to 2 years, I fail and I get nothing out of this, will I regret the last 1 to 2 years? The answer must be no, because you should not regret the last 1 to 2 years, because we both know, it's very possible you start something, you go 1 to 2 years, you put everything you think you can into it and it goes nowhere, right? Yeah. But it has to still feel like, you know what? I still learned. That's okay. I can go back to the drawing board and learn something else.
I think we all go through that phase of, is this really what I want to do for the next 5 to 10 years of my life?
Correct.
And you have to ask yourself, when you're starting this business, and you're going after the next shiny object, because there's a lot of shiny objects.
Yes.
We've all gone after them. We've all pursued businesses. And I talk about this all the time. It's like, why are you going to do this? What's your purpose? What's your purpose in life? And if the why is not there for you to make this money and pursue this business, ask yourself why. And in 5 to 10 years, like you said, would you still want to do this? And if the answer is no, then you shouldn't be doing this.
Absolutely.
So you have to picture yourself a multimillionaire in this business, and why are you doing it? It's crazy how many businesses I started just to try and make money, but the why wasn't there. And I knew it wasn't there, but I still pursued it and ultimately just gave it up. It's not that I failed. It's like, this is not what I really want to do. Why am I doing this? Not for my family, not for longevity. It's not what I want to be known for. I don't want to be known for making money in this little business. And I get approached all the time for money-making opportunities. Is that money-making opportunity what I want to be known for? Is what I ask myself. Most of the answer is no. So I like what you said about the purpose and the why, and moving forward with that one thing that you can see yourself 2, 10, 5, 20 years from now continuing on doing. So what was that one thing for you? So
for me, it was Amazon, and I looked at, there was probably about half a dozen different things, and I took different courses and different things because I thought, okay, why did my restaurant business fail? And that's the other thing that I don't think we do enough of, is reflecting. I think there is it Winston Churchill? There was a famous quote by him. He said, the further, and I'm rephrasing here, the further back you can look, the further ahead you can see.
I like that.
The further back you can look, the further ahead you can see. And so what we don't realize is our experiences, our past experiences, are actually lessons for our future. We're always looking out there for answers for everything, but what we don't realize, we have all the answers in here. We just have to be able to quiet the world out there to listen to what's in here, because our conscious mind is only able to focus on 3, 4, 5 things, 5 inputs of data at once. Yeah. Our subconscious mind is taking millions of data in all the time. So as you scroll through Instagram, as you hear music, as you hear conversations, all that is being stored in your subconscious. and just have to be able to quiet what's out there to listen to hear. And that's why, meditation and so on is really important, because you're able to pull answers from within without, going out there and looking for answers all the time. So for me, I looked at the restaurant experience, the 3 years, and I said, why did my restaurant fail? And after asking the question many times, I realized that I didn't get professional advice. I had no experience in running a successful restaurant. None. Zero.
You just winged it.
I winged it, and I thought I didn't.
Because you thought that's something you wanted to do, make good food, serve the people awesome food.
Correct. And I still believe in that. But the way that I always say the vision was there, the execution sucked. And it's because I watched a reality TV show thinking that I have everything to build a successful business, but that doesn't work that way, right? So when I went online and tried to do things differently, and what I fell in love with online is that, look, I can operate this from anywhere in the world. I don't need to be there physically. I'm not tied up to a location. I don't need tens of employees. I don't need any of that. And just the operation was much simpler. And that's why I fell in love with it. But then how to select the next thing and how to make it successful was, well, I'm not going to do it on my own. I'm going to find someone that I can resonate with. I'm going to learn from that person. And I'm going to have them, remove my ego. Because the other thing for me was ego. Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to learn from someone else because I knew all the answers. If they can figure out, why couldn't I figure out, right? And that's something that I still struggle with until this day.
I think everybody struggles with ego and wanting to get help and seeking help. We think that we can do it all ourselves. And in reality, we're sadly mistaken, because we can go a lot further with a mentor. We can go 100%. A lot further with help. We can cut our learning curve down and get the results we want a heck of a lot sooner if we had help.
Yes.
And all you got to do is put your ego down, ask for help, hire a mentor, hire a coach. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaches and mentors, and I'm 43 years old, over the last 20 years.
Yes.
And it's probably the best money that I've ever spent is investing in yourself, right?
Yep. Absolutely, man. And so that was kind of the biggest difference is finding someone that's walked the walk, that I can tap into their success. Because for the first decade of my career, people would ask all the time, like, what's the shortcut to success? How can I get there faster? And I've always said there isn't. But as of like a year ago, I was like, actually, there is one thing. And that's learning from someone else that's done it before you. Because
exactly. I think that's the biggest shortcut to success.
Yeah, because regardless what it is you're trying to do, someone else has gone before you and paved the path. And it's like, why try to pave a brand new path? Like, it's been done before, dude. Just find, again, you don't have to listen to this person or that person if you don't like them. That's why it's like there are multiple people that have done the same thing you're trying to do. Just focus on, one of them, get someone's advice, and then continue on that path. And so for me, it was, I took courses about trading stocks. I took courses about affiliate marketing, wholesaling, real estate wholesaling.
Taking them all too.
Yeah, and it was just like a bunch of stuff. And then something about Amazon just resonated with me. Was one of the largest platforms, was a plug-and-play system. Amazon takes care of shipping, packaging, fulfillment. It's like a shopping mall, Did
you ever do eBay?
I never did eBay. It was just Amazon that I started with when it came to e-commerce.
I got started in eBay before there was Amazon.
Interesting.
And I was like an eBay power. I was one of the first eBay power sellers in my category.
Oh, really?
When I was selling turbocharger parts. And now there's hundreds of thousands of pages in my category.
Wow.
And I didn't get on it. I wish I would have got on Amazon after the eBay kind of fad died down.
Sure.
Because Amazon was next. You're selling on eBay. A lot of these power sellers, they went from eBay to Amazon. So how long have you been doing the Amazon thing?
So since about October 2015.
2015. So
yeah,
8 years.
8 years, yeah.
8 years. Yeah. And that's all you do?
So, yeah, I mean, when it comes to a skill, that's pretty much all I do. And that's the other thing of this whole shiny object syndrome. One of my core values...
You never got deterred from this shiny object or that shiny object?
I did for a while, and then what I noticed is that in all of my experiences, every time I've done well, it was because I focused on one thing for long periods of time, right? And then around 2018, 2019, I started getting coached by Sam Ovens when I started my consulting business. And one of his biggest things is like keeping it simple, right? And just laser focus. It was actually an advice...
So you had you were making money without coaching, without mentorship for about how many years?
4 years. So from 2015 to 2019, I became a 7-figure Amazon seller, and that's all I did was just sell products
So
on
you built
Amazon.
a business, ran it for 5 years, very successful, became a millionaire at that time,
Yes.
during that time, and and then you started coaching.
And yes, late
A lot
2019.
of these coaches and gurus out there, they start their initial business as coaching.
Coaching, yes.
You built the business, and now you teach people about the business. That's what I like best about, that's why you're on the show, is because you actually did it first,
Yes.
made money, became a millionaire, and now you teach others. So what exactly do you teach others?
So it was just like the starting Amazon and then starting coaching. I realized that there was a bigger opportunity and a bigger impact to be made than just selling products on Amazon. Because after I had, I guess, made it, you could say, paid off my debt, got married, retired my parents, all that stuff, I realized that I wasn't passionate about the thing anymore,
What thing?
selling products on Amazon. The reason why one of the biggest reasons why I got into it was because I was kind of burnt out from being in front of the business all the time, talking to customers, needing to provide customer service for me to be able to make money. And Amazon provided a way out of that. And I was ashamed actually. So I lost my business. I lost my family savings. I got a DUI a couple months later, which my mom just found out like last year, actually. I got a DUI in 2015. And I was like the disappointment of the family. And I blocked all my friends, blocked everybody, and literally just kind of went into this, a cave for a few years. And so Amazon provided me that face that I didn't need to be in front of people, and I can just kind of do things on the back end, And so I got into that. But then after I had succeeded, I realized that I wasn't really passionate about selling products anymore, because it was a means to an end. It was just a vehicle for me to get out of that, And I was like, but there's got to be something more. And I realized that there was probably a bunch of Bashars out there, people struggling in life, needing to have a better living. And up until then, the traditional school system, I felt like, had a monopoly at providing better life. As you go to school, you get a degree and hopefully can get a job, right? Mm-hmm. And then I started looking at this entire space, and I'm like, well, shit, there's people like you, there's people like me, that we have actual skills that we can teach people, and you don't need to go to school and spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars and spend years to get this degree that can hopefully get you a job which you can get fired from just like that if they have budget cuts or whatever, right? And that's where BJKUniversity got created. BJKUniversity is on a mission impact. BJKUniversity.
BJK.
Yeah, it's technically my name, Bashar JK2, right?
BJKUniversity.
And we're on a mission impact 1 million lives at a time by disrupting the traditional education system. And the way we want to do that is by providing people a skill they can turn into income within 90 days or less.
And that is how to become a seller, FBA seller?
Right now, the skill is one only, and that is an Amazon FBA private label seller.
What does that mean for everybody out there that doesn't know? What does private labeling on Amazon mean?
Sure. So look at this mic, for example. You can go to the manufacturer directly and put Millionaire Mentor on it and create your own brand and sell it on your social media or through your brand or your website. Or you can go to, I think it's Sure, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and buy from their distributor and then selling it on whatever other websites and drive traffic to their brand, right? You can do both.
Yeah.
You can probably get this started faster, and it requires less capital than what we do. But you're building their brand, you're building their business. Your business really isn't worth much, right? Because at any
You're just a reseller.
You're just a reseller.
Reseller of Sure.
Exactly. At any point, they can pull this brand. Let's say you're selling 10 items. One of them makes up 80% of your business. At any point, they can pull that item. Something can happen, recall, whatever, and your business collapses overnight. What we do is we build our own brand. We own it. We go directly to the manufacturer. We create our own asset. It's exitable. You can raise capital. You can do all these things because you are building your own thing. And I started as this.
A reseller.
I was a reseller. I was an arbitrage. I was doing retail arbitrage. I would go to stores.
You're buying at wholesale, selling at retail, making
Pretty
a tiny
much.
margin.
Tiny margins. And it was cool. It was a great place to start. So, for someone that's just getting started and maybe doesn't have a whole lot of capital, it's a great place to start. That's where I started, right? The problem is it's not scalable. I was driving around all day, scanning a bunch of products, and hopefully to making a few dollars, which in the beginning, it was a lot of money for me.
The flip life.
Exactly, right? And it was a lot of money for me. But then I was like, okay, well, how do I take this to the next level? How do I build a multi-6-figure business? How do I build a multi-7-figure business? I wanted to become a millionaire. That wasn't going to make me a millionaire. And if it was just going to be so much operation, which I wasn't interested in. Private label, especially utilizing Amazon, they take all the operation off of you because they're doing the fulfillment, they're doing the storage, they're doing the customer service, they're doing all that. You could literally run a multi-6-figure, even a 7-figure operation by yourself, maybe a VA, which is the cool thing.
Interesting. So what is, let's get into the nuts and bolts, because I'm actually interested. Private label, do you actually have to make a website for this brand when you launch a brand on Amazon? Because I see all kinds of brands on Amazon.
Sure.
But then you go to Google and they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Does it always equate to actually having a website for your brand before you launch the brand on Amazon? Do you have to do that?
That's the beautiful thing. When you first get started, no. In fact, I grew my brands to multiple 6 figures a year.
How many different brands do you have on Amazon?
So personally, right now we have about a dozen, and they are among 3 different accounts. We do a few $100,000 a month, and you don't need presence outside of Amazon when you're starting out. Mm-hmm. At some point, you should probably do that as another source of traffic. But the beautiful thing,
to legitimize that brand, maybe.
Sure, and especially if you try to exit. Like right now. Our strategy for our personal brands, we build them to exit. So we build them after 2 years, we exit, right? And we get anywhere between 3 to 5x multiple on EBITDA, depending on the brand, depending on all that stuff. More traffic sources make it more interesting to private equity firms, right? Or to buyers, right?
Well, the only traffic source would be an external website, maybe an Instagram page.
Yeah, it could be social media, it could be direct ads to your website, it could be, several different things. But as someone starting out, the cool thing is that and that's something that a lot of people don't understand. 56% of all online sales happen on Amazon.com.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Over half.
If I see something I want on a website, and like I see an Instagram ad for a website, I'll go right to Amazon and see if it's on Amazon.
Exactly.
I'm not going to waste my time on a website. Sometimes the website have quick checkouts,
sure.
But most of the times you got to fill all the information out. It takes more time. The shipping might be 2-day Amazon, boom, 1 click, done. It's crazy.
Exactly. Yep. And that's why, again, over half of the online purchases happen on Amazon. So it's like, there is demand. Because as a business owner, one of the biggest, Tony Robbins says, all business is innovation and marketing. Well, Amazon does the marketing for you. Yeah. You just got to find the right product, right? And that's essentially what we teach our students, is how to find the right product. We call it the 15 commandments. We have 15 product research criteria that we take every single product through. And that was something that I learned from my initial mentor, and I've evolved over the years. And now we've coached over 13,000 people over the last few years. And so essentially, they provide you everything you need in order for you to launch your business. And that's the beautiful thing about the platform, All
right, so $1 million question. If you were to pick out one product, what would that product be for either you to sell or your students to sell? What is the hottest category of products? Let's start there, category of products.
Yeah, as far as a product, I probably wouldn't want to say that because I don't know how many people are going to watch this, and I don't want them all go and launch the same product. That would be silly.
We got to spill the tea on the number 1 product. Come on.
Yeah. The category though, category is awesome. I would stay in, top 3 categories would be office supplies.
Office supplies.
Kitchen and dining.
I thought kitchen would be one.
Yeah,
like
kitchen
spatulas and
exactly. Kitchen and dining, and then also toys. Now you got to be a little careful with toys because some of them are going to be restricted, but toys never go out of style. There's always new babies being born, right? And or baby stuff. Anything in the baby category. Again, this is another one. Babies are always born. Kitchen, it's because there's always new kitchens happening. Things in the kitchen wear out and you need to replace them. And then the same thing with office. Those would be 3-4 top categories that I highly suggest someone starting out to look into.
Maybe we can ask this question. What product in office supplies would be the hottest product?
Oh, dude, right now I don't even know. There's 12 million products on Amazon being sold.
A stapler?
Well, see, that's the thing. So one of the first things that we tell our students to do when we start with product research, think of 100 products you would want to sell on Amazon. Think of them, put them all on paper. Take that paper, burn it, never look at it anymore. Because the stuff, 80% of the products that I've sold on Amazon, I never knew existed before I found them. Like you said, stapler, it's like, well, that makes sense. A lot of people buy stapler. And yeah, if you go to Amazon, the top sellers are probably making millions of dollars every single month selling staplers. But the problem is, as a brand new seller going in, good luck.
How do you break into that? Like you see, 10,000 sold. I'm like, this guy sells, I just bought one, but 10,000 sold in the last month. Like, how do you break into something like that?
You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
Can't.
Unless you have tens of millions of dollars to try to launch crazy campaigns, but you don't.
But let's just say you have the money to launch an ad campaign. Will that ad campaign pay off, or you're going to be dumping loads of money?
It's not our strategy. I couldn't tell you.
You've never tried to break into one of those crazy categories.
So we are a little bolder with that, and we are going into a little more competitive markets right now. But every launch, we're launching products with about like 6 figures. It's a 6-figure launch. So we're taking anywhere between $80,000 to $120,000 in launching products. But then we know that these products can probably make about $100,000 a month in revenue. But as a beginner or someone that wants to make 10, 20K a month, that's not a strategy that I would recommend. If you've got $10,000, $20,000 to launch a business, that's not something that I would recommend. I've been doing this for 9 years. Our coaches combined have 50-year experience selling on Amazon. We've made millions of dollars. I wouldn't recommend you jumping in there. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to start somewhere, and that's not where you should start.
Gotcha. What is your craziest testimonial from a student?
Craziest testimonial, which we have a couple millionaires, a few millionaires actually. One of our head coach did 1.2 million last year. Our second had,
Commissions.
What was that?
Commissions for coaching?
No. They're their own Amazon stores.
Oh. Okay.
So all of our coaches were students before they became coaches,
gotcha.
right? So our top 3 coaches, they're also our top 3 students. 1.2, 900, 850 last year. Now this is the extreme, right? Our average student will do about 10, 15K a month in revenue in their first 6 months of launch. First 3 months of launch, first 6 months of enrolling in our university. But yeah, we've produced a few millionaires, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. So what is a step-by-step process of going through your university? Like, what does it look like for the average customer signing up?
Sure. So one of the first things...
We drop a little sales pitch right now.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first things that we focus on is, the biggest thing with this business is finding that product. That's going to be the thing that's going to take the longest time, but it's also the most important, right? So you first enroll. The first thing that we tackle is, and this is something that I heard by Tony Robbins several years ago, and it kind of really landed with me very well. He said, the thing that's stopping everyone from going from where they are to where they want to go is the person they stare at in the mirror. And it's broken into 2 pieces. It's 20% your skills, and it's 80% your mindset. And what I realized is that for a decade of my life, I had been dumping everything into skills, just getting better skills, becoming better marketer, becoming better, finding better products, doing this, doing that. And I had completely neglected my mindset, And I noticed that it's the same thing with our clients as well. When they come in, we were dumping skills at them all day long, but a lot of them were not getting the kind of results that we thought they should be getting. So now what we did is we took the first chunk. We actually have a mindset trainer that works with our students. She does an 8-week class 3 times a year, and she has a course inside of her program. That's the first thing you see. And it's just unlocking different things in your mindset, removing roadblocks, removing limiting beliefs, your relationship with money, your relationship with your family, all that stuff. So that's the first step. Then after that, it's about actually officially making you a business owner, which is, creating your LLC, getting things on the books, and then it's product research. And that usually takes the majority of the time. Gotcha. From there it goes into suppliers, then it goes into creating your listing, then it goes into launching. But that's kind of the gist of it. And the whole process takes about 3-4 months.
Yeah, I like what you said about mindset. A lot of coaches think they're just teaching the skills and people are going to do it. But
Right.
like people have these paradigms locked in their subconscious that take a good 30 days to change. And you know, your paradigm's a multitude of habits. Like, what are you habitually doing? What do your normal daily habits look like? What is your morning routine? Let's change the way you think. Let's change your habits. And maybe 30 days later, these skills can become impregnated in your life and changing your paradigm, changing the way you think, how you wake up in the morning, what's your routine like.
Yes.
So I think that's so cool that you have that in your courses.
Absolutely, man.
So what do you think is the number one skill like someone can learn as an entrepreneur starting out?
If you asked me this question a year ago, 2 years ago, it would have probably been sales. Then maybe last year it would have been marketing. Now it's mastering your mind. It's the one skill that I think is very underrated. Not a whole lot of people talk about, because you could be a great marketer, you could be a great negotiator, you could be a great salesman, you could be a great whatever. But if you don't know how to master your mind, people will be able to insert things in your mind that shouldn't be in there, and it will just, cannibalize everything else. So knowing how to master your mind and really being obsessed about what you allow into your mind, what you allow into your life, the input that comes into your life, because there's so much out there right now, man. With social media, it's like there is millions of messages being thrown at us all the time.
One negative comment can ruin your whole day.
Exactly.
And you got to have that thick skin to tell yourself and be confident enough that it doesn't bother you, or you just brush it off your shoulder.
Yes.
And as we get older, we get wiser. We develop a thicker skin.
Yes.
So a lot of you young bucks out there, it's all about confidence. It's all about having that thick skin to not let every negative comment affect you. So for me, sometimes you just have to have that I don't care attitude, and who you are in your mind. That's it. If you think you can do this, you will do it. And if you, like I said, you change the paradigm, the way you think, and know that nothing's going to stop you until you reach your goals, that one negative comment won't affect you.
Correct.
Or the thousands of negative comments that may be coming in for some people. Just know you're going to do it. You're going to be great. Say, I'm going to be great. Get up in the morning. The things you say to yourself in the mirror, speaking into existence what you're going to do, speaking into existence your goals, writing your goals down, that all contributes to your confidence.
100%. Absolutely. And that's the other thing is, who is controlling that mind? Is it you or is it someone else, right? Because you should be the only, there's a very famous video clip by Jim Rohn, and he says you should be the gatekeeper of your mind, and if you're not controlling what's going into your mind, other people are controlling what's going in there.
Exactly. And
then your thoughts are not going to be your thoughts anymore. Where does anxiety come from? Where does depression stem from? Where do all these, suicidal ideation, where does all that come from?
The outside.
It's allowing everything come into our minds, and if you don't control it and or don't know how to work with it, then you're just going to be living someone else's life. You're going to live a life that other people implanted in you. And because, listen, our brains are millions of years old, and they are these underutilized machines that we can literally, as you said, speak into existence anything if used correctly. And they can completely ruin your life if not, because our brains have a negativity bias. That's why whenever we see something, we always point out the negative, right? It's like we're not looking at the glamour, we point out the negative, right? It's because our brains have a negativity bias, because when we were cavemen, our brains had to be on alert all the time. Because when you're out there hunting and gathering, you're either going to get killed or you're going to kill. And so our brains have a negativity bias and they're always on high alert, but you need to be able to know how to control your brain and use it for your own advantage. Otherwise, it'll use you and put you on a path that you don't want to be on.
So where you're at now, what do you think what's the most important thing about building a business? Or building a business is like building a team. So when you're building a team, what do you look for? And how do you, because that's what takes people from making $100,000 a year to $1 million a year to even hundreds of $1 million a year, it's your team.
Yes.
What is the most important aspect of building a team? And like trust, delegation?
It's the first thing that you got to start with, I think, in my experience, is a cause greater than yourself, your company, or anything that any single individual stands for. So my personal mission in life is
Like
to...
the mission statement.
Correct. So my personal mission in life is to leave a lasting impact or create a lasting impact. Because what I realized is that we're all going to go. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Do you have a mission statement for your business?
On a mission impact 1 million lives at a time by disrupting the education system.
Okay.
And so what I realized is that when you go...
Everybody should have a mission statement for the business.
100%. No, absolutely. And that's where it starts with.
That's the first thing you
Yes.
should probably have in your business plan.
And you've got to believe in it. And that's the other thing. A lot of companies out there have it, but it's just a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
They don't actually practice it. They have core values. But it's like when they make decisions, are they actually using the core values as a filter to make decisions through? And that's the thing that I even didn't understand for the first year we had our mission, vision and our core values. It was like, yeah, it's cool, it's there. But it's like, how do you activate them? How do you actually make them work? How do you hire? How do you fire with those core values? And so to go back...
Every business writes down their core values, their mission, their vision, but do you actually adhere to it? Do you actually look at it? Do you have a sign on your wall?
Correct.
I mean, everybody can have a core value sign on their wall.
Yes.
But do you really adhere to it? Do you actually go back to it when you, like you said, when you're hiring, when you're firing, when you're making business decisions?
Absolutely.
And always go back to the why. Mission, vision, why, core values. I like that.
Yes, absolutely, man. And so, for me, it's about creating a greater cause than myself that's bigger than me, because it is my mission to leave a lasting impact. I want to build something that's going to live beyond me, beyond my years. When I look at someone like the Wright brothers, when I look at someone like Albert Einstein, when I look at someone like, even recently, Jeff Bezos, the things that they have created are going to live beyond their years. The things that they created shifted how life is done, Looking back right now, it's like, I don't know what life would have looked like if we didn't have this thing, if we didn't have planes, if we didn't have Amazon, if we didn't have Uber, if we didn't have electricity, if we didn't have the light bulb. It's like these things that completely change how society is, right? And what I realized is that the only thing that will live on beyond your years, because look, you can make trillions of dollars and pass them on to your kids and hope that they're going to do a great job, and maybe they could just mess it all up within months, within years, and it's all gone. Then everything you put, everything you did just literally went for waste. But the impact that you're going to create in this world, that'll always live. My father built a church in 1991. He built a church in the village where we're originally from in northern Iraq. And until this day, that's the second largest church in that region. So there's a sign on there when you first walk in, and it says that this church has been built by this person and this and that. My dad is 84 years old. He's got a great health, and I wish he lives for many more years, but it's like, how many more years is he really going to live? That church will be here for probably thousands of years. He won't be here for much longer. But he'll always be remembered in that village and, amongst his community that he did that. That is a lasting impact, right? So for me, it's like, how can I create a lasting impact? And right now, the way that I know how to create a lasting impact is through BJKUniversity, is through disrupting the education system. And maybe I won't disrupt the education system, maybe I won't even make a dent, but I'm providing people an alternative. I'm providing people another way. It's not just that, there is something else. So for us, it's creating that vision for the team. It's creating that mission for the company that everyone believes in and everyone rallies behind. Because I realized that to build a great company that's going to withstand, all kind of crazy stuff, you don't just need people, but you need great people. And great people normally either have their own thing going on, are working for someone else and doing something great in life. So it's like, how do you attract these people? Compensation won't do it. Yeah, money won't do it. You could provide
It's
people...
usually the number one motivator in the beginning.
Sure, it can be. But believe it or not, after hiring many people, one of the biggest things that I've heard is, I want a place that feels like home, and I want to feel like I'm contributing, not just making money. I've had people take a 50 to 75% pay cut by moving from their job to work with us. but because of the mission is what attracted them and what's keeping them. We had a down year in 2023. It was probably the worst year we've had in business, okay? My top players are still there because they believe in the mission. Although many of them are not making, did not make shit, but they're there because they believe in the mission. They believe where the company is going. You know what I mean?
Okay. What do you think is the marketing changes? Marketing, advertising changes. You're probably you had a down year in 2023. So, what do you think is the new trend that's going around? Is there a new trend? What's new in the marketing world? Because you have a coaching business. I'm sure a lot of coaches out there want to hear what's working, what's not working. Because I've actually, the education side of business, I also hear from some coaches they've had a down year as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think that is attributed to?
For us, it was very specifically, so one of my core values was, it's still a core value, but it was my number one core value, and I lived by it. It was focus, right? But I think what I didn't understand is, so we focused on one thing, we grew a ton by focusing on one thing, one offer, one program, one traffic channel, one of everything. And I think we overdid it, because I think there is a certain point where diversification makes sense, where adding another thing makes sense for stabilization. But I think, unfortunately, especially in our industry, is people can't focus for more than a month on one thing, and they start diversifying and adding and having shiny object syndrome from day one, right? So I think there is a balance that you need to be able to play between the two. As far as, strategies or gimmicks or what's new or what's hot, I couldn't tell you, but what I could tell you is there's always the next thing. There's always the next hot thing. There's always the next, influencer that's going to come up with the next thing that's going to go viral, that's going to do great things. That you can always evolve. But if your core is strong, if your foundation is strong, if you have something that you believe in that's bigger than yourself, you'll always figure out the next thing. Because that was for us the same thing as, Instagram shoutouts. Like that's really what kind of put us on the map. We grew our Instagram page from 25,000 followers to like 1.5 million in like 9 months or something like that, And it was, we figured out this Instagram shout out thing. It was October of 2020, and we went all in. I mean, in 2022, on average, we spent $350,000 a month on IG shout outs, and we were generating 4 to 6x ROI, day one cash, right? And it blew up the company. Yeah. And it was the next hot thing, right? And we caught it, and we went, and then it kind of started dwindling down. But because we had the core dialed in, we had a down year, because that thing that got us there didn't work anymore the way that it did.
Maybe that damn algorithm keeps changing.
Exactly, right? But if you have the core, if you have the foundation dialed in, you'll always find the next thing that's going to get you to the next level. But I think, unfortunately, a lot of people focus too much on the next hot thing, where they lose focus on the foundation, making sure that you've got a great offer that delivers great service, you've got great customers that love what you're doing, that are all about what you're doing, and forget about the next hot thing, because unfortunately that's going to get you in trouble. And that's why you see the FTC coming around to this industry now and serving letters left and right, because,
I just watched the video by Anik.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, he got hit pretty hard. And so it's really important to, again, figure out your foundation. Make sure you've got the main stuff figured out, because this will work today. It will work in 10 years. It will work in 100 years. We could live in space and it'll still work the same, Yeah,
so it's always just trying to figure out the next viral hack,
Yep.
That's the guessing game all businesses play.
Absolutely.
That's why I got to have a good marketing team, good a team of talented people that can actually contribute to different ideas, different ways to market. Like, I was just watching a video about Logan Paul, where they took a picture, had a photo shoot, and KSI is drinking the bottle, and some guy edited the photo and just moved KSI down to where the bottle was almost like where Logan Paul's dick would be.
Yeah.
And it just went viral. Like, the original photo didn't go viral, but then they just photoshopped the guy and just a little KSI a little lower, and Logan Paul, they're both drinking.
Yeah.
It's like insinuating, that.
Sure.
And it just blew out, like little stupid things like that, and
right.
A marketing video, a picture. It's just crazy what what can go viral and what couldn't.
Yeah, and so the other thing would be, don't be afraid to take risks. Like, for example, they were not afraid to take risks. Now, obviously, those are some very controversial, some very out there type of personalities that don't give a shit about anything, right? But even though we did a, and maybe I might get some hate about this, but we did a slider last week actually, where we said these are the top immigrant celebrities that, top immigrant millionaire celebrities. I don't know what the idea was about. And one of them was Sofia Vergara, I think I'm probably mispronouncing her last name, who's from Colombia. And we accidentally misspelled Colombia. I think there's a
couple ways to spell
there's an O, but we put a U.
It too, yeah.
Yeah. And then we were going to put it out, but then my marketing director was like, hey man, this is misspelled. And we all got together and we were like,
just leave it.
Fuck it, just leave it. Let's just see what happens. That slider got, I think I checked this morning, it had 730 something comments.
Wow, yeah.
Our average post will get like maybe 50, 75. The good ones will get like 150. And it's the same thing people are correcting. It's like, dude, it's with the blah, blah, blah. And then people are pissed off about it. And it's like, okay, 100 other people like said the same thing. Why did you have to comment?
Yeah.
But it's like, we were audacious enough to say, that's someone's country. And like, don't misspell my country's name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we're like, that's fine, put it out there, it's okay. And believe it or not, that day we actually lost the most amount of followers, which was interesting. But then we were like, okay, but that created a lot of engagement. So now let's sprinkle.
Gain a lot of followers from it too.
Exactly. Let's sprinkle more misspells in more of our content. And it's funny because this morning I watched a video how
purposely misspelling
purposely misspell it and make it someone where people are emotionally attached to, not just some random thing, like someone's country, someone's this, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say offend them, but like make it actually mean something, you know what I mean? Again, it's like taking the risk to test these kinds of things. I watched a video by Grant Cardone, I don't know when it was, last year, 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember, he did this thing where he went live, he had shaved his head because he was doing the undercover billionaire, and he's like, we're going bankrupt, the plane is going for 90% off, who wants it, blah, blah, blah. And then his marketing team was like, oh my God, what are you doing? Our investors, blah, blah, blah.
I thought it was real too.
Exactly. For a week, he was like on the top most searched, some phrases or something on Google, right? And he got so much hate, but he also got notice. And something that he said, he made a reel about it recently. He's like, I told my marketing team, there's so much crap on the internet. Trust me, a week from now, people will even forget this existed. And because there is so much input that's happening at once all the time. So when it comes to marketing, when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's like, take the risk. Go the extra mile, as you said, with Logan Paul. It's like someone shifted there. Someone else would have been like, no, this kind of looks weird, blah, blah, blah. But they were like, nope, do it. And it went viral, you know?
Yeah. So I think we're going to wrap it up here. One final question. You're a family man. Do you have a family?
I do. No kids yet.
No
we have a
kids
couple
yet?
of orders in. We're still waiting for them to arrive.
What is a piece of advice we can give regarding relationships, maybe work-life balance?
Have you read the book, The One Thing?
The One Thing, no.
So it's a great book. I think everyone should read it. In that book, he says, it was actually recommended to me by Ty Lopez, of all people. It says, work-life balance is, and literally, like, not word by word, I'm rephrasing. Work-life balance is a scam. Play to play, work to work, okay? Don't try to juggle both at the same time. With that said, Sam Ovens told me when I first met him, he said every entrepreneur has two lives. We have the work life and we have the home life. Mm-hmm. Only one of them can be chaotic at any given moment. Mm-hmm. Your work life will always be chaotic. As an entrepreneur, you're always testing new stuff, new campaigns, this thing, a lawsuit came up, whatever, you know? With that said, your home life has to be settled. It has to be, you can't have a nagging spouse. You can't have, things happening all the time. You can't be, a 25-year-old kid clubbing every single day, chasing after girls, and then also expect to build a multi-million-dollar business. It just doesn't work. Yeah. So for me, fortunately, I met someone who fell in love with who I was early on when I was broke. In fact, 8 months after I met her, I hit rock bottom, right? And we built together. And for the longest time, I was trying to make her into something that she wasn't. because my mom was a stay-home mom, and my parents had like a terrible marriage, really, for the first 30 years. They've been married for 50-some years. And it was because my dad was the entrepreneur, going out there traveling, stuff like that, and fucking around. My mom was a stay-home mom, right? And I was like, I want someone that can be involved with me, kind of like Alex and Layla Harmozy are, And for the longest time, I wanted to mold my wife into that, but that's not who she is. Mm-hmm. And only about a year and a half ago, I realized, I don't think I need her to be that.
Yeah.
I need a person that's gonna take care of the home. Make sure that I don't have to worry about bills. Make sure that I don't have to worry about this thing or that thing. When we have kids, she take care of the kids because I'm out there all the time doing all these crazy things. And when I come home, I don't want another chaos, right? So that way I can focus on business. So for anyone watching, it's really important to have a partner that's going to help you make that happen. Now,
like the yin and the yang.
Exactly. Now, if they have their own career,
I don't think Alex and Layla have kids, do they?
They don't have kids. No, not that I know.
They're both workaholics.
Correct.
So when they do have kids, who's?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you gotta figure out what is the thing that you want to do, right? And you gotta make sure, again, understand that there are two lives. And if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, you need that life to be settled. Whatever that means for you, you just need. It can't be, it can't be chaotic as your business life. Otherwise, you won't be able to focus on neither, and you're going to half-ass both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There was a time where, our kids are 12 and 7, and my wife's been a stay-at-home mom. And there was a time, maybe for 2 to 3 years, that my wife started working and working a lot, and it was chaos. It was too much chaos. She expected me to start being the parent and the dad and taking care of a lot of responsibilities and it just did not work. It was so much stress because she was under stress from her work. We were both under stress from managing the kids and taking care of the kids, that she just said, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I love being a mother. This is what I'm for. This is what I'm going to do. This is who I am.
Yep.
And I'm like, don't worry, I got you. We got it. And I continue being stressed at my work.
Sure.
And now she can be happy. Stay home mom.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Because I don't think it's good for the kids if they both see their parents working and they're not being taken care of by one of the parents.
I think it depends on how you want to raise your family. If you want to if you want to have the most influence on your kids, then you need to be in their lives. If not your spouse needs to be in their lives. Otherwise, someone else is going to raise your kids. And especially with the school system that is right now, I don't know if you want the school system to raise your kids.
All right, so we'll leave it on that. Where can everybody find you out there on the internet?
Sure, man. So we actually built a page for everyone watching. If you just go to bjkpodcast.com, there's a few goodies in there that we've left different links for different things that we're doing. You can check it out there.
BJKpodcast.com.
Yes.
Check it out, guys. And thank you for tuning in.